I'm going to be sharing my experience on how I traveled from Nigeria to Germany, the whole of the process, from application to the visa to the arrival, accommodation, and also finance, and how, yeah, basically everything that involved my traveling then. And lastly, I'm going to be sharing some tips and some mistakes you could avoid in order to make the whole process seamless for you, because obviously there's like a couple of changes that has happened since I last traveled. The process will change. So stay tuned, and also you could check the descriptions for the time intervals for each of the topic in case you want to get more and know about a specific topic I'm going to be talking about. So don't touch that and stay. The first thing you need to know is to be sure of which university you want to go for. And in order to know the universities that are available on the courses, you should go to a website called dad.de. I'm going to be dropping the link on the description. Please take note. This is basically like a, a platform where all or most of the German universities would usually put their postings or openings for semesters. And you can go there at the beginning of the year to search for courses, which is usually in winter and summer courses. So when you get there, all you need to do is to search for the program you want to do, and also search for the related courses. You would find varieties of options, and you could pick from any of those ones. And when you get to know the program which you're interested in, the next thing you would definitely come across would be the course requirements. So I think in general, some of the requirements that are needed to at least study for a master's or even a bachelor's degree would be your valid passport ID. So basically your travel passport ID. Please get that one. And also you would need a degree. So for me, I was doing a master's degree, so I needed to show a proof that I've done like a bachelor's before. So you would need your bachelor's degree, and also you would need your transcript of record. So what I mean by that is your transcript that shows all the courses you did during the bachelor's and also the grades. You could also get that one from your school, and sometimes you need to apply for it. But for some schools in Nigeria, I think it comes along with your degree when it gets awarded to you. And in some cases, if you want to study in English, which is going to be most likely the case, you also need to show a proof of English proficiency. And for that, you would either need to do a specific English certification test, or in most cases, for me, for example, in my case, I didn't have to do that because I had already done my study or my previous BSc degree in English. All I had to do was to get a proof from my school um, to show to the university I was applying for that my previous course was done in English, which means that I'm to a very large extent proficient in the language, so I didn't have to take this extra course. Why some universities would accept this, some other universities would also not accept this. So you have to be sure which is allowed and which is not allowed. And when you get that, of course, you have to do what they call the statement of purpose. It is like a document which you would definitely just write explaining your motivation, why you want to go for this course, why you want to travel to Germany, and what is the motivation of what you think the school is, or the program is going to help you with, and all that. And just like you're writing a job application letter, basically. So you're just applying for the school and saying, this is why I want to be part of this school's program. And when you have all these documents ready, the next thing is to send out your application. There are two ways you could send your applications to German universities. Typically, some schools would allow you to put all these documents, preferably a copy of these documents, of the original documents, in a file and send it over with a courier service, maybe DHL or whatever, to the school's post office, right? However, some other schools would not accept this approach. They would rather tell you to go through another platform, which they use, which is called uniassist.de. So uniassist, like the name applies, is a third-party platform or whatever that does the whole quality assurance, I might say, or checkup when it comes to school admissions for most of these public universities in Germany. So what they're going to say is you might have to go through this platform. So you go through this platform, search for the same school, you apply through this platform and send your documents one time through this platform. This platform now checks your document and check everything you need to check, and then before forwarding your document to the main school. But if that's not the case, then you have to just send your documents one time to the university you are applying for. One trick I would just put here, so if you have the plan to maybe apply for 5 universities, one thing you could do in this case is to look for someone who lives in Germany, maybe a friend or a brother or a cousin, whatever it is, and send the different copies to this person who lives there, so that person could just help you distribute these letters or these application docs to the different schools. That way you save yourself some cost from sending the individual documents like multiple times to different universities. When that has been done, obviously what you want to do next is to wait for the feedback of the universities. In some cases, they would get to you to do like a first-time interview where they just ask you, again, similar questions you're going to be answering on the motivation or the statement of purpose letter. You're just saying why you want to do the course, and they're going to probably test your basic knowledge on some certain things on the course, and usually it's fine. And when you pass the stages, you get the admission confirmation or the admission letter sent to you either by post or by email. When you successfully get the admission, congratulations, you got the admission now. So the next thing you have to do is to think about how to use this admission letter to apply for a visa at the German embassy in Nigeria, which is usually at the Lagos embassy. I'm going to be dropping the link below, and you have to book for an appointment, for a visa appointment. And for that, all you need is just also your passport ID, your preferred start date of the admission. So if you got the admission in summer, that means you're going to be resuming in summer. You need to put on the application form for the visa that you expect to resume school on the summertime. And after that, you put your basic information, date of birth, and this normal drill. And when you do that, you would expect them to get back to you with a confirmation. And also after some time, they tell you, okay, come for your admission interview. But times has changed. In the past, some years ago, it is the case that after you apply for this, interview appointment date on the German embassy site in Nigeria, you get an immediate response in less than, I don't know, 2-3 days or even a week maximum. They schedule a date for you to come do the interview. But now it is no longer the case. It takes a lot of time. So basically, if you have a 2-1, for those of you who are coming from Nigeria or watching from Nigeria, you know what this means. If your bachelor's grade is 2-1 and below, so second class upper and second class below, it takes approximately 2 years to get a visa appointment. That is really, really shitty. I know. Yeah, I'm also going to be giving you some tricks at the end of this video on how you could also go about this. However, if you have a first class degree or you're going for a PhD degree, not a master's, then the time period which you need to secure this visa appointment is even much more faster, I think. And if successfully you get the visa appointment secured on time, good for you, congratulations. And all you need to do is to show up to this place prepared, and you would have to come with some couple of documents which would also be communicated to you by the embassy. So I think the basic documents would always be your passport again, and also your valid admission letter, and your proof of finance, which you would use to help secure your stay or your livelihood in the country which you're going to for the first 1 year at least. And what else would you have to bring? I think those are like the basic, but of course, like I said, everything is going to be communicated and sent to you. So when you put all this together, you have to show up on this day in the morning, get prepared. And, I can also drop the link to some of the favorite questions that you would expect to get on this interview for a student visa. And it is quite straightforward if you're actually prepared. It's nothing to actually be worried about. I think in some cases, some people do not have all the required documents that are needed, but please do well to also reach out to the embassy on time and let them know your situation if that is the case, and they would always get back to you and tell you what to do and whatnot. So when you're done with your interview, congratulations, that is the major step. I think the next thing you would have to do is to wait for the embassy to call you for the final visa approval. Next thing you want to think about is flying to your new country which you would be studying and living your life, depending on how the case turns out. And the things that you should take note of in this situation would be, you need to really put your mind that you're coming to a new country where English is not the first language of the people. It is Germany. The official language is German, though a lot of people speak English. One thing I usually do advise people is, depending on how much time you get, if you have the time on your side, please do well to start getting familiar with the language. So basically the simple, basic things. And also please make preparations on accommodation. So if you don't have anyone where you would be going to, live upon arrival, or there's nobody waiting for you, the best thing you can do for yourself is to already start making preparations on accommodation. And I can tell you on how to go about this. So some of the options you could use would be to reach out to your university to ask for student dormitory. So basically student hostel, which is also nice. And it is also good for students, to be honest, because it is quite affordable in compared to private apartments or whatever, which could be expensive for a student who's just coming for the first time. and reach out to them. Most times they are always available to help and assist. And yeah, hopefully you get something from that option. If not, there are also a couple of platforms where you could already use to start searching for apartments in Germany. So one, for example, is called wggesucht.de. I'm also going to be dropping the link on the description, so please do well to check the link. And if you're lucky and hopefully you get something even secured before your arrival, then I think you are already good to go. So when you pick your visa, secure a flight ticket to the country, the nearest airport to the city where you would be schooling or living. And when you get to the country, welcome to Germany. And there are quite a numbers of things you need to also know when you come to the country upon arrival. So I'm probably going to make another video on some of the things that you should do as soon as you arrive Germany for the first time to make your stay and your process quite smooth and seamless, right? There's some couple of ways you could help beat the whole waiting period when it comes to visa wait time in Nigeria currently. So like I said, if you have the lower class or what's called second class upper below, you need to wait for 2 years, which is quite a long time. However, what I usually advise people when they reach out to me and they say 2 years is too long, 2 years is never too long if you really need something. Um, the best time they say to plant a tree is 20 years ago. Another best time is today. So while you're complaining, you can just go to this website and put your name down on the waiting list. Obviously, that is the best thing you can do regarding that time. So because they don't charge you to be on the waiting list. It's just basically you going there with your valid passport ID and also basic data information of yourself and register yourself. I'm also going to be putting the link down on the bio to do this, right? You could already put your name on the waiting list and just wait. You can have other things doing. Maybe you are still doing your NYSC program, which was the case for me, for example, right? I was still doing my NYSC program as at the time I started searching for application, right? So you could put your name already on this waiting list. Or maybe you're doing some trainings or you're working. Just keep yourself busy and just have that at the other side waiting for you. The second option would be to actually do the visa process from another country in Africa. So basically, as someone who's coming from Nigeria or in the ECOWAS region, we have the freedom to actually move across different African countries, similarly to Europeans, for example. So if you know someone or you have a family member that lives in a nearby neighboring country, all you need to do is to go live with this person and live in the country for a couple of months. I think 6 months minimum you have to had held like a resident permit in this countries for minimum 6 months, and then with that you could already apply for your visa through that country, which I think is also a fair approach. Yeah, that's it. Basically, all about this video. Please, if you're watching, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and if you have any question regarding this video or maybe in general, don't forget to also put it on the comment section. I will be here to answer your questions. Until that, I'm going to see you on the next video. Ciao.